is Rama Jayanti. I am a professor of marketing at Cleveland State University, Cleveland, Ohio, in the United States. Yes, so we have been very much accustomed to having consulting our friends for major decisions in our lives. So, with the advent of technology, more and more people are really congregating on the social networks to discuss things, and then healthcare has become a very important issue nowadays on online networking. So, our research looks at whether social networking helps or hurts, our consumers. So we have done extensive research on that I would be happy to share with you. So there is a school of thought that says that it is a really good thing that social networking is happening, and then it's good for consumers to transform themselves from a very passive kind of a patient to a very involved and empowered patient, because social networking helps consumers to get informed about what's going on and also be very proactive about their own treatment. But there is another group of people who caution about this, because typically people are naive and they might get hurt because medical care is complex, and self treatment and self diagnosis is not something that experts recommend for naive consumers. So it can go both ways. Our research actually addresses this question about whether social networking can empower people to do better decisions. To be empowered in the healthcare is something that worldwide all the governments are looking for, that they would like their citizens to be empowered in the healthcare domain. Right? So we have done some extensive research in this area. We followed online bulletin boards to look at what is it that the consumers are doing on those bulletin boards, and we had almost 8,000 lines of text. We followed 10 actors, meaning the people who actually posted online, for 10 months. It's a longitudinal study, and we looked at whether being part of this social network actually helped or hindered them. So our results show that it depends on what they are doing there. Right? There are some people, so we looked at both these leaps of learning, people who are empowered and they really got it right, versus lapses of learning where people are not that empowered, people struggle with their care. So the leaps happened when consumers took upon themselves to actively interact with the community. They started off with actually reflecting on what's going on. Reflecting is always a good thing. You have to stop and think about things that are happening, right? So these are consumers who thought about what's going on inside their bodies, thought about how to frame their disease, and then they came to the discussion board to talk to others about this is what is happening, what do you think about this? So collectively the entire community discusses the situation and they come up with recommendations, and then the consumers would actually follow up all this activity of thinking with action. Action is key to transformation. So the consumer is not passive in just doing all this thinking, but actually takes it forward. I can quickly give an example. So let's say that there is a consumer called Hannah. She just discovers that she has thyroid cancer. So our electronic bulletin board dealt with thyroid cancer. She's very scared. She posts, this is 2 a.m. in the morning. She posts online, I just got a diagnosis. I'm very scared. I don't know whether the cancer is localized or it's all over, it's spread. So immediately within 2 minutes, she gets a reply from Australia, a continent away, saying that, it is good to be scared, but at the same time, don't be so scared that it consumes you. Try to do research, try to understand what is happening. And the entire community pitches in, encouraging her that this is 100% curable. You should be proactive. You should ask your doctors questions. And then if you want to look at the spread, you should ask your doctor to check your lymph nodes. And if you want to make sure that this is curable, make sure that your entire gland is taken out. And then if there is any residual cancer, you should get your radioactive treatment done. So Hannah actually follows up this reflection, and then refining is where she assimilates all this knowledge, and she proactively goes in search of a doctor, not a general surgeon, but an ENT doctor, so that she can get her thyroid glands removed. And then she proactively goes on an RAI treatment, and she also voluntarily goes on a low iodine diet. So this is a person who is very active, very engaged, and at the same time following up by asking questions to their physician, and then she is very empowered in her own, taking care of her own health. So there are other people. We also looked at lapses of learning, and lapses of learning, that means hurting kind of a thing. That happens when people kind of break this process of reflecting, refining, and exploring. Right, thinking and action, they have to go together. So there are people who think all the time. They just come to the community and they talk and they argue, but they never go and ask the doctor about the right questions. And there are people who keep asking questions, too much action, but there is no thinking. They really do not take time to reflect in the community and then to take the advice of the community and then benefit by the community. So there is one particular case which is interesting that we looked at, and this is a person called Aaron, who starts off the discussion by saying that he's totally ticked off by the hospital because they do not let him to smoke. So obviously this is a person who is very much upset. So the community immediately jumps on him saying, no, you should not be doing this, and then he stops coming to the community. So this is a classic kind of a question. What do you do with disengagement? There are lots of, even in colleges, there are students who might not be very engaged in their education. So what we are trying to say here is that depending on certain conditions, these health boards, the online social networking can be very empowering to consumers. So those conditions are that the ability to think by reflecting and refining, and also the ability to follow up that thinking by action, actually going to the doctor and asking the right questions and then researching their conditions and making sure that you proactively partner with the doctor to take care of your health. There is a lot that public policy and industry can do. For example, the social networks are here to stay. They are not going to go away, right? So as an industry, we have to unhinge ourselves from our old models. The old model is where the consumer is very passive, and then the doctors or the entire healthcare system have a very authoritarian role to play, and they would dictate to the consumer or the patient what to do. But because patients are collectively coming together and then they are taking healthcare into their own hands, first of all, public policy can do a lot by making sure that they facilitate this interaction. There's good information out there, right? That's the number one thing, that consumers are not fed wrong information or misleading information. So public policy can play a huge role by making sure that there is high quality information available to the consumers when they are collectively discussing the situation. And as an industry, I would say that especially those people who are consumer oriented have to be more proactive about looking at this consumer who wants to be engaged, who is very interested in empowering themselves. So this can be a huge opportunity for the industry to treat this consumer as an investment, right? I mean, you really don't have to do too much to advertise your services or market your services. If you are authentic enough, and then you are going to give good information to the consumers are going to come to you. So you should really transform this industry by making sure that you give good information to the consumer, and also take the consumer's feedback. Listen to what's going on with the consumers and make sure that you change your business models based on the consumer input. Of course, I think we are starting with the premise that the consumer is a resource. The consumer is not the enemy. The consumer is not somebody who is trying to grab power from the industry, right? So as soon as we start saying that the consumer is a resource, consumer is an investment, we change our perspective to look at the consumer and say, what can we learn from the consumer? So when consumers are collectively discussing about their conditions, collectively discussing about what is the best route forward, companies can learn a lot. And many companies, like the pharmaceutical companies and also the medical device companies, will look at the problems and the tensions that consumers discuss with each other. And there are huge opportunities for innovation in those, right? I mean, they can come up with pro-consumer or devices that help consumers to relieve their discomfort or relieve their pain. And pharmaceutical companies can come up with medications that can control the side effects that they are talking about, because these are typically two most important things that people talk about on the forums, right? The side effects and also the discomfort because of lack of the power of the medicine to control their condition. So I think both the industries that we talked about, the pharmaceutical industry and also the medical device industry, can benefit a lot by this interaction online by looking at what are some opportunities for them to innovate for further improving the consumers' conditions. So I think a kind of a side effect or an industry that is going in parallel with this online consumer innovation is mHealth. mHealth is mobile health. Recently, the statistics released show that for the first time, the mobile phones in the entire world has reached 7+ billion units, meaning that those units correlate perfectly with the population of the world. So I think hypothetically there is a cell phone for each person that is in the world. So there are huge opportunities because everybody has access to a mobile phone, and research also talks about how in certain rural areas in countries like Bangladesh, almost 75% of people have a mobile phone, whereas only 25% have electricity. So this and more importantly, most people use this mobile phone to call a doctor, to find out information about their visits, or to kind of look at, especially pregnant women, to look at what kind of care they have to take at home. So there are huge opportunities to deliver preventive care through the mobile phones. So mHealth has taken I think the World Health Organizations, along with a lot of other people in the healthcare industry, are taking mHealth very seriously. There is an annual conference on mHealth, and we see a lot of things happening, especially in the rural areas and especially for disadvantaged consumers who can benefit through this revolution in mobile health.